Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Minis on the Mind. I am Brian of War Painting Services here, and I am here to talk to you about whatever is on my mind, mostly miniature related. In this particular week, I am actually going to be taking on something that is more personal to myself as opposed to something more broad or general that a lot of people could talk about. And one of the reasons for that is because it's an introductory episode, and it's really hard to, in such a short notice, possibly get other people to come in here and tell me their opinions. So I want to do something that applies more to just me, but I could still get people talking about. In this particular case, it has to do with recent changes around the area where I live. If you don't know, which I assume you don't because not everyone lives in the United States and in Michigan, which is where I live. So we have recently had a vote in our government, our state government, to increase minimum wage. And it's going to be increased in little increments, but it's gone from already 740 USD to 815 USD, and it's over the next year or two going to become 925. Well, since I am a commissioned painter by trade, the problem that I run into here is, well, we're seeing inflation. We've all seen inflation, and it's been obvious. After all, people have seen GW increase their prices. We have seen that even privateer press has been slowly raising their prices. I mean, it's not as over exaggerated as GW has done it, obviously, but and we can see that in everyday life. Things around here are getting more expensive. The cost of living is getting more expensive. My rent has gone up. My cable bill has gone up. I've seen food prices go up around here, and I know the energy bills around this area went up as well. So the thing I'm facing here is that I ideally try to charge about $10 an hour for what I do. And I base that around how much level of work, how many things I'm doing, and stuff like that. Though I do very often, and I'm not trying to brag, but it's just something that works out for myself because I end up being a perfectionist when it comes to my painting. I end up spending more time than I get paid for, that I usually charge for painting these models. And if my every cost of living is going up and minimum wage is going up, I have to ask myself, do I need to increase my wages? So the problem I'm running into here basically is this. I live in an area where, yeah, I might have to increase my wages because of what I'm getting paid for, or what I have to pay out too to live. And it's hard enough to get by making $10 an hour around here, much less when you're only making 75 cents over minimum wage, which I might be in a year or two if minimum wage gets up to 9.25. Well, it will get up to 9.25. So do I raise my prices? Do I adjust this a little bit? It's kind of hard for me to figure out what exactly I have to do because what can I do? I have to be competitive. Otherwise, people are going to turn eye to me unless I already have a big name, which I'm not. I'm a small personality on YouTube who has 150 some odd subscribers, and I have a few regular customers that come back to me, and I do get a couple new ones every so often. Everyone I get seems to be happy with my work, but are they going to turn their heads away from me if I suddenly say, okay, well, I have to charge you more. It's not going to be $2 a model anymore. It's going to be $3 for level 1. This is, as I said, I have to be competitive, but I also have to pay my bills. And that's really where the problem is. If my clients can send their models to another place that isn't being affected by the inflation like I am, and maybe the cost of shipping is still less than I have to charge them to make my living, I'm going to be losing business. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to chase people away. I love what I do, and I want to charge as little as I can, but still be able to live on it. And that's really, really the toughest part for me at the moment, and I've really been fighting with this. So, I mean, in the back of my mind, I was thinking, well, what would I ideally be at 9.25? $10 an hour? I mean, that's okay, but if that sort of difference and with getting commissions in that aren't always going to be frequent, I may as well get a normal job at that point, so I have to raise my trade prices. So $11, $12 an hour ideally. I mean, I could do it, but as I said, if you can send your models to someone else and the cost of shipping is less than the difference, I'm going to be losing business. So I want to know what other people think about this sort of situation, if they've seen this sort of situation in any of their businesses or businesses that they have around them. Because it can't be just you that's being affected. I do have a particular type of business that can be very area based, but it's not something that is specific to just me. Because when you have a business that has to ship across the country, I mean, they have to pay taxes based upon where they ship a lot of the times. So that can affect business as well. Things like that. So I know I'm not the only type of business that gets affected by this sort of thing. But I am also the type of business that does have a larger coverage area. I have worked for people out of the state. So I guess the question I have to be asking everyone is, what do you think? Do you think it's okay for me to raise my prices and still try to, or do you think it's better to try to keep it lower and be competitive and see if I can get more people in that way? I mean, there's a certain point where something's got to give, but I want to know how you feel about this sort of thing, not affecting just me as a commission painter, but affecting other businesses in a similar fashion. This is sort of thing with all these different payment thingies that can be, that's something that can happen with all these areas that have actually different minimum wage requirements across our country. If you have something that can be spread across a wide area, but other companies or businesses could be doing the similar thing to you and not have to fight the same pricing. If you're in an area that has a different price than another area, and a different business can beat you just because the wage requirements where they are located are different than the prices where you're located, is that unfair? I don't have the ability to just get up and move all the time to find a place where I can afford to live better at a smaller wage. That's unrealistic. That's unfair, really. It makes it really, really hard, especially for people who are trade-based, to get around and do what they want to do. So that's the first thing I want to ask you. What's your opinion on this? What do you think is the best way to handle this? I love what I do, and I appreciate everyone who likes and watches what I do and comments and criticizes. I appreciate every single person who does that. But it's just a difficult situation that people get put in all the time. Anyways, I appreciate you coming around for Minis on the Mind. If you watched this first episode or listened, since it's mostly just going to be audio, I will have a lot more interesting topics in the future. This is just something I wanted to get off my chest, and I wanted to get it out there, and I could do on my own. It was easy. I absolutely guarantee there's going to be a lot more interesting things down the line. So please tune in for episode 2, because episode 2, I already know what we're going to be talking about. And the discussion for episode 2, if it's about time that our favorite hobbies with these wonderfully built worlds start breaking into movies and television. I will see you then, and hopefully I'll have some guests with me. Take care, everyone. I love you all.